Hi everyone. My name is Gaurav Mahajan. I have Pradeep Soundararajan with me. As Pradeep mentioned, uh, Pr- Pradeep is somebody who doesn't need an introduction. Uh, some of you, I would say many of you already know him from his conference talks, his book, Buddha in Testing. I know Pradeep as a practitioner at heart and a founder of Mulya and Bagasurat by experience, and someone who's been helping organizations from deep tech startups to large B2C companies and helping them to rethink quality for more than a decade now. So, what I'm excited about today is that we're talking about AI not as a buzzword, but hearing from someone like Pradeep who has lived a tester's journey, who still doesn't hesitate to introduce himself as a tester first, who sees the opportunities AI brings in, and how his thinking aligns to what we were talking about, what Ali was just speaking, and what we are seeing across the industry, whether it is Globant's AI pod and approach we have with Magnify, and using AI as more and more integrated in our ways of working. So, welcome, Pradeep. Uh,
Thank
so, in the first segment of this conversation, maybe I would like to speak to you about your journey, about your experience, and I would let our audience know that why it is important to hear from you on that. So, as I mentioned, that you don't hesitate to kind of call yourself a tester first, uh,
you.
even before as an entrepreneur or CEO.
Yeah.
Uh, why that identity is so important to you? Why you would love to stay rooted in testing as your identity?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I'm quite excited about being a part of this conference. Great gratitude to you and the Globant team, who is already doing a fantastic job. And I think Rahul also mentioned about your involvement in Formula One, and I'm a huge Formula One fan, and I'm thank you for that. Thank you for all the contribution you're doing for that. Now, to the question that you asked about, why do I identify myself first as a tester, before I identify as anything else, is because um, I think I have been a tester turned product owner, a businessman, and all other, consulting and everything else that I've done. The foundation of everything that I am doing today is
Mhm.
laid through deep skills that I gained by being a tester. And I think being a tester, being a really good tester, let me also clarify that. The being a really good tester enables us to have great observation skills, great listening skills, great documentation and writing skills, critical thinking skills, lateral thinking skills. I'm so damn grateful. So, if given a chance, if I have another life and I have to start off as a career, start my career as a tester, I will absolutely choose that. So that's why I identify myself as a tester first.
Great, great. Thank you for that. And just extending that, and I think we would love to understand that what you thought as a tester you could not solve, and you thought, let me start an organization, let me start a company to solve this, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that you went from being a practitioner to start a company from scratch, and if there was a turning point which pushed you, if you would like to share something around that, that would be great.
Yeah, the more and more I learned about testing and how it can change and influence the growth of an organization, and the kind of companies that I've seen struggling with certain, testing challenges, I felt that everyone is aware of the solution, but there are certain things that prevents them from bringing their game in. Like for example, I'm sure many people in the audience has more skills than what they have been able to apply. I wanted to focus on translating what skills I had built into practice. And for that, I needed an environment which was more open to being able to experiment. And starting a company is was the best platform for me and being a consultant as well. So before I started the company, I was a consultant, and that freedom helped me bring out a lot of these skills, hone my skills, and practice these skills. So I would have not preferred to start the business. I am saying this in hindsight. And recently, somebody asked me, Pradeep, if you were to restart your business, how would you do? I said, I will not start the business. So it happened to me. And I would say that I didn't actively go looking for it. But given what I wanted to do, I had to become a businessman. And for those who are skilled, um, you need the right platform for you to be able to bring your skills on board, and it's important each one of us creates those opportunities. And I think that's just what I did. I just created an opportunity for my skills to be put into practice and shown the value part of it.
Yeah, great. So, Pradeep, with Mulya, you help the deep tech organization, the B2C
Yes.
firms to improve their quality, their time to market, ensuring quality was always there. Do you remember a moment where you thought the traditional approach to quality was just not enough? I'm sure there will be many, but
Oh yeah.
what would be top examples which you would
Oh, I
love
can.
to share with us? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the many companies that we support, and they also support us, is Hotstar. And Hotstar has now it's Geo Hotstar. So Geo Hotstar has the maximum number of concurrency when it comes to IPL and World Cup cricket and all of that stuff. So the traditional approach to testing would have been testing from one setup, one lab, whereas customers and users of Geo Hotstar are not going to be at one place. They're going to be moving around. So the first testing approach that we came up with in the company is to put testers on a bus in Bangalore, and they were testing while they were on the go, because we envision that people who are watching those IPL matches are going to be watching when they're coming back from office. I'm sure a lot of people have done. And for my friends in Argentina, if there's a football match and they're on the way back in a commute, and they would be loving to watch that. So essentially, I think it's important that we recognize that users are not going to sit in the lab and watch. Users are going to be on the move. And I think that kind of triggered a creative approach to testing. And those testers who worked on this project, they became super passionate about it. They saw a new world of testing. And I think each one of us, I'm sure there are many such stories also in Globant. And I think the world, the leaders like us have to come out and share more such stories out. So that's where I think the traditional testing would have failed for them. And we contributed one person. They also have a great team there. So I won't take the full credit for that.
Thank you. And while in this segment we are talking about your journey, I was having this conversation a few days back with you, and you were sharing that how your team went on to open an office in which you were not aware of, and they sent you a picture, and then you got to know that that there is an office which has been opened for you. It says
Yeah.
a lot about the philosophy of delegation and co-ownership. And while we are speaking about your journey, um, how did that trust first leadership style evolved for you in this in these whole years of driving Mulya and Bagasura?
Yeah. One of the important things I realized is that, a lot of testers and testing teams go through identity crisis in an organization, in in every organization, right? The whole concept of why you're doing this conference also is to help them see that they have a strong, good identity. So how did this leadership come by is when I looked at some of the talented colleagues in the companies that I worked with. They were doing good, but they were struggling with this identity of do I have the capabilities to grow further, to do those things and all of that stuff. I said, I think there should be a culture that's centric to testers in every organization. I'm sure even in your company, you would have already recognized that. And this conference, if you're doing it for the seventh year, is a testament, for that. But okay, that aside, I think that there should be a culture. There can be a subculture created specifically for the testers, because the kind of chaos testers go through, developers don't go through, the BAs don't go through, the customer support and success teams don't go through, the sales don't go through. And so I think that I wanted to create a culture that's specific and unique to testers, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to open things up. Okay, the other thing is also, I'll just, once I finish with this, the other thing is also that when people can make decisions and can execute decisions, is when their courage grows. And courage is a critical piece for a tester to succeed. I've seen phenomenally skilled testers without courage failing. I've seen an average tester with courage succeeding. So I think it's important for all organizations to nurture courage as a skill. And I just wanted to do it, whatever is there in my control. So I'm glad it's happening for people around me.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pradeep. Um, in the next segment, I think this is where the juicy part is, and where we would like to talk more about your take on
Mhm.
AI and AI first mindset. Um, so I will start with a very plain vanilla basic, question which you might have been
Recording
asked
in progress.
a lot of time. Um, so while we are in this juncture of LLMs, AI, artificial intelligence helping us as a great assistance at our disposal, uh, it is reshaping workflows. From your perspective, what is the real opportunities for engineers in quality, or testers, as we say?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure everybody in the audience wants to get an answer for this question. There are many answers for this question, but I would like to, but I would
Recording
like
stopped.
but I would like to, okay, help them understand that the response I'm going to give is one of the many answers. Just like how in ChatGPT they can go and keep regenerating answers, and every answer looks like the correct one.
Yeah.
This is one of the regenerated answers, my dear audience. Okay,
Mhm.
now from the testing perspective, we have problems to solve for customers.
Mhm.
To me, instead of looking at the hype, if I were to look at AI as an incidental thing to happen and say, hey, I've got a new tool to help my customer succeed. So, what are the list of problems I want to solve for my customer that I have not been able to solve so far? And now that this piece of AI, whatever promise it offers, is available, can I use this to solve that problem? The focus I'm seeing, and I'm very concerned about it, is that we should be in the age of AI. We should be talking more about customers than about AI. AI came in, AI came in to support and help improve the value for our customers. But it has become in such a way that everybody is focusing on AI and the focus on customer is going away. So to me, I think for those who really want to get ahead with AI, the focus on customers should increase, and this is the most beautiful time to to do that. So for example, I'm trying to see what are the problems. We have always put it as a backlog, saying, oh, if we had if a release was pushed by 6 days, and we had completed what we wanted to complete, what will we do in those 6 days? That's the kind of thinking that needs to come in, to say, okay, we have 6 days, it's a green field right now, we have AI, what can we do? This can dramatically change the approach, and this can help improve the focus towards customers. And I think for customers, whether we use AI or not, if we are solving their problem more efficiently, faster, better, just like Formula One, that's what is important, right? So our customers are Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, all of these folks who want the fastest of the car with all the controls and with all of that stuff. If we can offer that to them, they're happy.
So on that thought, if I can further ask you,
Sure.
now there are two folds to this next question. So one is, what is that one misconception and one myth you would like to see the test engineers drop about AI?
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you asked this question. Um, I want to tell that the first use case in testing that people claim they solved through AI is the test case generation part of it. So you upload all documentation and test cases generated. But the best of the testers so far have been people who have been able to think through those tests, document those tests. Now, the thinking part of the test cases still should be with the human. But today, people want to create fully autonomous, and which essentially means that the human in the loop is going away. One. Okay. Second thing, I want, this is the concept I've been working on. I'm not working on human in the loop. I'm working on the expert in the loop.
Mhm.
For somebody, for somebody to fly an airplane, they need sufficient hours of training, and then they can leverage the use of a co-pilot. Uh, then they can use an AI co-pilot. But if for years, if we have testers who have just who have just seen AI generate, test cases, and they just complement, to it, their ability to think through test cases, their ability to understand and build test coverage drops significantly. So I would want people to drop the myth that AI should be used to generate, test cases. Um, but they can be used for a lot of other things, which helps us get time for the customer. Like for example, the most noisiest piece in testing is the execution part of it. But there is also value for humans to do that. But I'm saying that the 99% of it, uh, if be it automation or AI can take over, then the thinking part, the focusing on customer part comes back to the human expert. And I would love to see testers graduate to become test expert and not just remain testers. So that's what I want people to drop.
Yeah, thanks for that. And even I would agree to that. And I think that is where this whole balance of human plus machine is so critical. Um, I believe that AI is at our disposal. It is a great assistant for us, but that doesn't take away uh, the edge which cognitive intelligence brings in as humans, right? So
Yes.
completely agree with that. And I think you very carefully also covered why it is sort of important to have this balance and why human in the loop is important, right? And not looking at AI.
Expert in the loop, expert in the loop,
But,
expert in the
but
loop. Because if we say to the generation of testers, expert in the loop is the only job available. Everybody wants to strive to be the expert in the loop. If we say human in the loop, then everybody is like, oh, I'm already a human. I'm just gonna be in the loop. No, you have to strive to be an expert. That's what I want to create.
that's quote of this conversation, maybe. Quote of
Yeah.
the day for me. So
Um,
thank you, Pradeep. Thank you for that. And well, that brings us to one more question, um, which I have for you. So, in your early projects at Mulia, when you were building the organization, um, and now that you have this assistance for you, have you ever have this thought that if I had this assistant way back then, how I would have done things differently, or the outcomes might have varied for you as an entrepreneur, as a CEO for Mulya and Bagasura.
Yeah, that's a great question. Do you know, most of the testers that I've worked with um, want to run more test cases, but
Mhm.
due to the limitation of time and pressure and lack of availability of an environment, back those days, getting a test environment itself was very, very difficult, and there was a limited set of things. And if you're working with a hardware software embedded kind of a thing, you are constantly fighting with to get the devices and stuff like that. So for me, I wanted to run a lot of experiments. Now, for some of it I had the skill, for some of it I didn't have the skill. So if AI was there in 2003 when I started my career, I would have got a lot more agents to work for me. I would have become the super boss even then. And I would say I will do these things, and I will become the boss of AI agents. And I would love to create different kinds of agents. Like for example, there was this tool, like how things like the Charles proxy is there, right? So we had tools from that era, from NISTnet, where you can throttle the bandwidth while you are testing for streaming and stuff like that. For back those days, the 3G VoIP solutions and stuff like that. I would have loved to have many such tools that I could have built myself, and what's it deployed. And my dependence on others to create these tools for me would have dropped, okay, significantly. Okay, one. Second thing, okay, is that in terms of the testability part, 99% of testing projects suffer the lack of testability. Even today, because if you look at say most of the front end automation, why it fails is because there's missing element IDs, accessibility IDs. People are trying to figure out XPaths and stuff like that. I think back those days, if I had it, I would have used AI to solve the problem of testability of all my things. So I would have got AI agents to get unit tests written for developers who didn't want to write unit tests. I would have used AI agents to improve testability of the code. I would have used AI agents to perform set of tests that I would have loved to perform, but I don't know how to perform, or I needed a tool to perform. So these are the three things that I would have done.
Great, great. Thank you, Pradeep. It's always great to hear from you, but I have more questions because now that you have spoken about how you would have used AI, I would like to talk to you how you are using AI. And we had this conversation before this podcast, right? And you were telling me about a Bagasura, which you have made it open for all. And you said something which caught my attention and stayed with me. You're saying that you're trying to create a slowest AI tool in the
This
world.
slowest
Yeah,
AI tool in the world. Pradeep is building it. Yeah.
yeah. Walk us through. I mean, tell me the thought
Yeah.
process.
So, so you know, again, I'm gonna use the Formula One example, right? There's a beautiful movie that came about Formula One, F1 the movie. In that, Sonny Hayes, our favorite guy, Brad Pitt, says something like, "Smooth is slow, slow is fast." Okay, and what he means by that, and what even I mean when I say I'm trying to build the slowest AI. I am trying to get AI to do a lot of processing before it gives me an answer. I think people are looking at an AI as a black box. Okay, let's say, I mean, we've been calling it a co-pilot and all these cliched, terms. If it is my fellow pilot, and for me, the human brain is so powerful that when I'm looking at you, when I'm talking to you, the human brain is processing millions of things right now for you, me, and everybody in the audience. Now, the human brain has evolved over like thousands and thousands of years to get to this point. AI is in its first generation. No, it's not in the first generation. It's in the sixth or seventh generation, because we've had AI even in the past, although we didn't call it AI and we didn't popularize it as AI. So I would say that it's in the sixth or seventh generation, but it's in the first generation of mass use. So previously, it was used by certain companies in certain places, but now everybody is trying to make it a popular mass use. So this being the first generation of the popular use, it is processing things faster. I would like when I query for something, I would like AI to think, take 3 minutes, take 4 minutes, take 5 minutes, but give me a beautiful, crisp, contextual answer. Don't give me a vague answer. So for and in the testing space, one thing that I figured out is precision matters a lot. You cannot give out a vague answer. So if there's a decision maker coming and asking me, a question, I need data. And you know this, right? Everybody who goes into a meeting collects, crunches the data, and goes very well prepared. This is my test coverage. This is where it's failing. This is what we have done. This is what we need to do. So comprehension, this coherence, AI, I want AI to have. So in the product that I'm building, there is a public version of this which is free, which has the fast, narrow, shallow thinking one. But in a very deep custom trained model that we have built something which takes time to come up with a more contextual answer. And I think over a period of time, people will choose a more contextual answering AI than a shallow, quick, fast AI. So that's essentially what I would say. And again, I'm going to use the Formula One example here. Some cars, come P1, P2, P3 in qualifying, but they don't win the race. Some cars in the free practice, they're on 1, 2, and 3, but they don't win the race. So if it's about winning the race, it's okay even if you are P10 in practice, but in the race you are there on the podium. So that's what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build something which goes onto the podium.
That's great to know. And Pradeep, I would love to talk to you more, but we have also some questions in the chat. Audience also, and we would like to take some of them.
Sure.
So the team, do you have any questions which you would like to share with us, which we can spend some next few minutes? So yeah, I think one of the questions which I can see is that tips for transitioning from traditional AI-assisted test case design and how to be expert in the loop. Like, I mean, if you have some high level, a broad level structure or a skeleton, which you can say that, hey, this is what AI can give you, and how you can develop like an expert in the loop mindset.
Yeah. So one thing that I see across the testers in the globe, when they go through a training program for testing, they learn a lot of techniques, approaches, but when they get onto a project, they have the pressure. So at best, they take up a requirement and they come up with testable cases for that. And if they think they've sufficiently covered the functionality, they're good at it. But they're not consciously implementing the techniques, the approaches, the heuristics and oracles that they have learned during the training program. AI is a wonderful opportunity to bring all of those techniques and approaches and get it implemented through AI. So that is how you level up as a test expert. That's how you level up. So when we talk about becoming a test expert, we're essentially saying, hey, bringing what we know in order when we are applying it onto the project. But because of the constraints of the timeline of the project is the reason why a lot of people are not able to do it. And I'll give you a cricketing example or a sport example for this. When you are under pressure, a lot of talented players crack. This is exactly what's happening with all testers in projects, that they are talented, but under pressure, they crack and they make a mistake that they would have never made in a normal day. I think AI is a wonderful opportunity to diffuse that pressure, take time, process all of those things, implement the techniques and approaches, and that's the way they level up their game. That's the way they level up their game to become an expert. That's the way they level up their game to become the expert in the loop.
Great, great. So that brings us to the conclusion, Pradeep. We have a time boxed approach to this summit, this conference. So it was a fantastic conversation indeed, and I think what stood out for me that you stayed rooted in the tester's mindset, while also embracing what AI brings in. So for everyone who's listening, if you want to dive deeper into Pradeep's thinking and his point of views, check out his book, Buddha in Testing, and his past conferences. And also, of course, keep an eye on where industry is heading right now with approaches like AI pods, tools like Magnify, Coda, and innovations like Bagasura. We are entering into an exciting phase. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Pradeep, again for making time. I know you had personal commitments and you made time for this. Again, we can't thank you enough for this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my wife's birthday, so I thank her for giving me the time to do this. That's how passionate you should be about testing. Okay, and the second thing I want to just say is that I really, really love what Globant is doing for the global, testing community that you have, and I wish the best to everybody. And it's a wonderful time frame, and I hope all of us use this in a great way. Thank you very much to the leadership team. I hope to stay connected through LinkedIn and other places. Okay, thank you very much. Bye
And
bye.
and from all of us, including the leadership and everybody on live, we wish your wife a very happy birthday and have a great evening ahead of you.
I'll tell her. A few thousand people wished her for letting me do this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pradeep. Thank you. Lovely having you.